It happens on a Wednesday night, when Lena stays late. She isn't looking for anything. She's pulling the Heron Group renewal numbers, a routine file check before the Thursday call, and the folder path is wrong. One mislabeled subdirectory, one wrong click, and suddenly she's inside a transfer log she has never seen before. Her name isn't on it. Nothing about it is addressed to her, but every single client file inside it is hers. 47 names. 4 years of her life, laid out in a column with transfer timestamps. The oldest entry is 11 months ago. The most recent is last Tuesday. Lena sits very still. The office hums. The city lights blink through the glass behind her, and she reads the full log. Once, twice, a third time, and she does not make a sound. Declan Solen, her fiancé, her co-director, the man who flew her to Arundel for their engagement dinner and toasted to building something lasting, has been quietly pulling her entire client portfolio out from under her and routing it to a new entity, Solen Partners, registered 4 months into their working relationship. The equity dissolution paperwork she finds on the next search has already been filed. It clears Friday. She closes the laptop at 11:17 p.m. She drives home. She doesn't wake Declan. Thursday, she handles the Heron Group call alone and does it perfectly. Friday morning, the dissolution clears and she says nothing. She signs out of the Varick and Solen system for the last time at 9:04 a.m., takes her personal notebook and her badge, and sets the badge on the reception desk face down. Declan's launch gala for Solen Partners is Saturday. Maris Holt, venture investor, new girlfriend, apparently not a very new development, stands beside him in a red dress with Lena's 47 clients in the room. The industry congratulates him. Several people ask Declan where Lena is. He tells them she chose to step back. By Monday, Lena has nothing. No firm, no equity share, no professional standing in Varath City's consulting tier. Her industry contacts have either already signed with Declan's new entity or are being aggressively courted. Her savings cover a rented desk in a shared office on the south side of the city and 3 months of operating costs if she is very careful. She has her notebook, her memory, and the clothes she wore when she walked out. She sits at the desk on Monday afternoon and opens a blank document. She starts to type. Client name, relationship start date, first contact note, key preferences, contract terms as she remembers them, and something happens. The typing stops feeling like recall. It feels like reading. Every detail she types unlocks the one beneath it, the way pressing a key reveals a filing cabinet she didn't know was there. Names, dates, contract clauses she negotiated 3 years ago, the personal details clients mentioned in offhand phone calls, a client's daughter starting university, a preference for Tuesday morning check-ins, a particular concern about Q3 exposure, all of it sitting in her mind with a clarity that isn't natural. It is too fast, too complete. She types the name of a client she last spoke to 18 months ago, and the full history opens like a file drawer pulled smooth. The notification doesn't make a sound. It appears at the edge of her focus like a footnote in a document she was already reading, and Lena blinks once and keeps typing. She is not a hunter. She is not ranked. She does not awaken in a flash of light or feel power surge through her hands. What she gets is quieter and more complete than any of that. She gets a perfect memory that is also a living system. The Archive Sovereign class, when it activates at 0, doesn't hand her raw power. It hands her everything she ever built, organized, indexed, and linked. It hands her every relationship she ever formed, every trust she ever earned, every preference she ever noticed and filed away in 4 years of being the one in the room who actually listened. And then it hands her something extra. Every time Declan moves to lock a client tighter, exclusivity clauses, non-solicitation language, restructured service terms that are clearly designed to wall her out, the archive adds a layer. A new file opens in the ledger. Pressure tactics, points of friction, the specific clauses clients are uncomfortable with but haven't said no to yet. The system logs every move Declan makes to secure what he took, and every move becomes a data point she can use. She begins calling clients on day 3. Not all 47, 6. the ones whose friction entries are already dense with notes. She doesn't pitch, she asks questions. How is the transition going? Is the new structure working for them? She knows exactly which concerns to listen for, and when they surface, quietly, professionally, carefully, she lets the silence sit until the client fills it themselves. 4 of the 6 come back within a week. She registers Varick Consulting as a sole entity on day 5. She has no staff. She works 16 hours a day, and she doesn't look exhausted. She looks like someone moving through a system she has already memorized. Because she has. The archive doesn't let her forget a deadline, a preference, a name. Every client file she rebuilds populates the next one faster. By day 30, she has recovered 28 of Declan's transferred clients and added 14 new ones. Mid-tier accounts Solen Partners isn't targeting because Declan has always worked the top tier and written the rest off as not worth his time. Declan notices around day 35. He sends a legal letter, a non-solicitation claim based on a clause in the original Varick and Solen operating agreement. Lena reads it with her morning coffee. The clause, she notes without surprise, applies to active clients at the time of dissolution. Her client list at dissolution was 0. He had already stripped it. The reconstruction ledger logs the letter in its own file. Date, claim, the specific legal argument, and the counterpoint that makes the claim void, written out in full before she has even forwarded it to her attorney. She sends her attorney the ledger summary. The letter is dismissed in 4 days. Declan sends a second letter. The ledger notes that this one cites a different clause, one that is marginally stronger. Lena's attorney is ready for it before it arrives. The archive logs a third file, the pattern of Declan's legal escalation strategy. The ledger knows his next move before he makes it. By day 60, Varick Consulting has 61 active clients. 42 of them are former Solen Partners accounts. The remaining 19 are new relationships Lena has built from the expanded reach the archive keeps surfacing. Referrals from recovered clients, companies that have heard about the consultant who recovered 42 accounts in 60 days and wants to understand how. Industry contacts begin returning her calls with a different tone, not sympathy, attention. She hires a junior analyst on day 61. He asks how she remembers every client's preferences without checking notes. She tells him she has a good system. He nods and gets to work. He doesn't notice that she never writes anything down, because her recall is seamless enough to look like preparation rather than something else entirely. The archive runs so quietly that no one in the office ever sees it working. It just means Lena is always the most prepared person in any room she enters. Declan's firm is bleeding. The 47 accounts he transferred were the revenue spine of Solen Partners. His operating model assumed they would hold. They are not holding. His team, 3 junior consultants and Maris Holt's investment connections, cannot match the relationship depth Lena built over 4 years, and the clients who stayed are beginning to notice the gap. The Tuesday morning check-in isn't happening. The Q3 concern wasn't flagged. The daughter who started university was never mentioned again. 3 clients request meetings with Solen Partners' senior team and get Declan unprepared for questions he should have known were coming. One of those clients calls Lena that same afternoon. She takes the call. She is ready for every detail of that client's file because the archive flagged the friction point 18 days ago. The client transfers to Varick Consulting within the week. One by one, the remaining clients begin to drift. Maris Holt tries to intervene. She has money and social capital, and she knows how to use both, and she makes calls on Declan's behalf that are polished and persuasive and land wrong because she doesn't know any of the things Lena knows, and the archive won't give her any of them. By day 75, the Solen Partners client list is down to 11, and 8 of those are legacy accounts that came with Declan's prior reputation rather than anything Lena built. The Varith City Consulting Industry Gala is day 88. Lena attends alone. Dark braid, sharp black blazer, no jewelry except the watch she has worn since her first year in the industry. She is not there to make a scene. She arrives on time, works the room quietly and precisely, and signs 2 new client agreements before the dinner service begins. The archive cross-references every face in the room against its ledger and surfaces context notes so efficiently that by the time she sits down at her assigned table, she has greeted 26 people by name and referenced something specific about each of them, and every one of them has looked at her the same way. The slight recalibration that happens when someone realizes they have underestimated the weight of the person in front of them. 3 people she hasn't spoken to in over a year seek her out specifically. 2 want to discuss their accounts. 1 just wants to say that they heard what happened with Varric and Solen, and they're glad to see her doing well. She thanks him and means it, and the archive quietly notes that he is a warm contact, no friction, potential referral pipeline, follow-up in 30 days. Declan is across the room with Maris Holt and 3 of his 11 remaining clients. He sees Lena arrive. She doesn't look at him. The industry award for fastest-growing boutique firm in the Verith City tier is announced at dessert. The name on the card is Varric Consulting. Lena stands, walks to the podium, accepts the award with 6 words of thanks, and sits back down. She doesn't look toward Declan's table. She doesn't need to. Maris Holt's investment reputation doesn't survive the gala. The Solen Partners portfolio collapse has been visible to anyone paying attention, and Verith City's consulting tier pays very close attention. 2 of her other investments ask for meetings the following week. Both go poorly. She is photographed leaving early. Day 90. Varric Consulting has 71 active clients. The reconstruction ledger shows 3 more agreements pending review. The firm's revenue for the quarter, projected from confirmed contracts, is 4 times what Varric and Solen generated in its best quarter before the dissolution. The archive sovereign classification, above registry, appears on no official document because there is no ranking system for what Lena has built. The system doesn't track what she does. There is no title for a consultant whose memory is a living index of 4 years of perfect relationship architecture, upgraded by every hostile move made against her. The message from Declan's remaining board members arrives at 2:17 p.m. on day 90. It is formal and carefully worded. They would like to explore acquisition of Solen Partners' remaining assets and client contracts by Varric Consulting. They note that the transition would benefit from Lena's existing relationships with the client base. They suggest a meeting at her convenience. Lena reads it once. The archive opens a file automatically. Declan's offer versus market value. The 8 legacy clients in the Solen Partners holdout and their likely response to an acquisition. The specific clauses Lena would need to protect her existing client agreements from contamination by the Solen entity's legal liabilities. The optimal counteroffer structure, should she want to counter. She doesn't want to counter. She opens a blank message, types 4 sentences, and sends it before the afternoon light has moved an inch across her desk. Thank you for your proposal. After review, Varric Consulting declines acquisition of Solen Partners' assets. We wish you well with the process. This will be our only communication on this matter. She closes the message window and opens the Day 91 client file queue. There are 9 names in it. Somewhere across the city, in an office that still has his name on the door and his investment partner's photograph on the wall, and 11 clients where there were once 47, Declan Solen reads 4 sentences on a screen and does not move for a very long time. Lena doesn't know this. She is already on the next client. The archive is already building the next file. It doesn't stop. It was never going to stop. She was always the one who remembered everything, noticed everything, built everything. He was only the one who held the paperwork. And when he took the paperwork and left her with nothing, the 0 he created was the exact condition the archive needed to wake up. He gave her the 0. She built the system. And the system doesn't have a ranking for what she is now, because what she is now is above anything the registry was designed to measure. The reconstruction ledger adds a final note at the end of Day 90's summary, the way it always does. 1 line, logged automatically, no drama attached to it. Lena reads it, nods once, and gets back to work.